How are we doing tonight, guys, for a YouTube exclusive right here on your On Roads podcast? Now, guys, you guys know that in the year and a half that we've been doing this show, we pretty much have covered the independent scene in the state of New Jersey. You think of independent wrestling, you think of our show. And one of the guys who we're having on tonight is actually somebody who I've been wanting to get on for the longest time. I have seen this guy wrestle in several promotions, Titan, Invictus. He is the greatest damn showman around, the one, the only Jaco, making his debut tonight. Jaco, how you doing tonight?
I'm good. But when we're doing the introduction, I love to do my own little one, so let me run it. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children, creatures, freaks of all ages, it is him, it is I, it is me, it is the greatest damn showman of this industry, Jaco. Welcome to the greatest damn show. I love it. I love doing it. Sorry. Always gotta do it. Bigger than me.
You're good. But no, I'm glad to finally get you on the show. And I want to get right into it. Obviously, you know, people see you at Invictus, they see you at Titan, IWA. But before we get into that, and before we get into, you know, some of the matches that I've seen, especially the big one that we were talking about before we started recording this, for the people who are watching who may not know exactly, who is Jaco?
Jaco is this weirdly odd, eccentric individual, super over the top, very unnecessary. Doesn't have to do half the things he does, but he does them anyway. It's no filter. It's just very out there, you know. Just I got couple of screws loose, you know. But you know, we'll get through that.
I was gonna say, isn't a few loose screws? Isn't that part of being a wrestler?
I mean, listen, you can't be fully there if you're willing to do this, you know. Exactly. It's just my opinion.
I've seen a lot of you guys in action, and I commend you guys. And I sit there, and especially when at the Titan, not this past Titan show that happened this past weekend, the Courage and Power one, and I was sitting in front row, and I felt the chops, and I was like, wow. But let's get into let's go back a little bit in time here. Was there a specific moment or a match that you were watching on TV, or like a moment where you're like, okay, I want to get into this crazy world of pro wrestling?
The things that brought me into it were seeing like the larger than life characters, those individuals, those captivating beings, so to speak, like someone like the Undertaker, you know, walking down. He has this anonymous type of like aura around him, you know. All he's doing is walking. He's not really doing anything crazy. He's just walking to the ring, but everyone's just like in awe of this like man in a trench coat, and then he takes his hat off, rolls his eyes, and it's just hooks. You're hooked, you know. So stuff like that, like the larger than life characters, over the top things, that's what like really like captivated me, like kept me sunk in, you know. And then like, you know, you had like the smaller guys, the high flyers, the Rey Mysterios, the Eddie Guerreros, the Jeff Hardys. Those are the people that like kept me into it even more. I was like, holy crap, like a human being, like an actual living, breathing human being can do this. No strings on their back, no stunt man, one take, one go, just throw it all out there like that. That's crazy. So I would say like a little bit of everything of those, really.
So you wanted to basically become a combo of like a Undertaker, luchador-esque.
Yeah, that like, you know, that like character, over the top character. It's gonna captivate you, but still gonna blow your mind when I step into the ring. I'm gonna do some wild stuff, whatever it is I do.
And I believe me, like I said before, I've seen you in action plenty of times, and I know what you're capable of. Trust me. So then, obviously, like I said before, you've worked with several promotions. Invictus is one, IWA is one. I think if I remember correctly, I remember seeing you also at the Win show.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's go into with you and Invictus, because that's a lot of people probably know you from Invictus than anything. Okay. First of all, how did you get involved with Invictus Wrestling? Let's start off with that.
Invictus Pro Wrestling, it started with the Takeover, kind of. Started a little bit before Takeover, before PJ was in the Takeover. It started with PJ Savage. He was in a group called Sin, and it was PJ going against Jay Bougie. in a pre-show match. And after the match, post-match, PJ beat Bougie and Sin came out. The other two of his group, members of his group came out. And then me and my former tag partner Face, we seen that. We weren't gonna let that happen. We slid in, and ever since there, it's been like this Takeover versus Sin thing from that point on. That we did our thing, we fought, we did tag team matches, then we did the unsanctioned match, Takeover versus Sin, the big unsanctioned match. We were built up on the pre-show. We were killing it on the pre-show so much that they were like, F it, let's just give these guys a spot on the main card. We was on the unsanctioned match, we killed it then, and then PJ eventually turned on Sin. All four of us officially take over on the Invictus brand. And yeah, so that's like the speed round version of it, so to say, of like where it started, how we got to take over, give or take. But yeah, we started on the pre-show just like giving it our all, like just like really like itching to try and get on that main card because we knew we were gonna put on something special. It doesn't matter where you put us on.
And it's safe to say you guys had, I think, arguably one of the greatest runs as a group that I think I've ever seen in independent wrestling.
Appreciate that.
You look at and the thing is also with independent wrestling, you don't really get that continuation a lot of times because people's schedules are different. But it seemed like in your guys' run, it seemed like that's all everybody was talking about was Takeover.
Yep.
And this leads now to the big match you guys had, as I call it, the all over the Mecca match. Also spilled out, into Bergen Avenue as well. And folks, if you missed that match, go back to IWTV. You can definitely go watch it. It is a car crash at its finest.
But you couldn't stop watching it.
Especially at one point in the match when all of a sudden, now folks, if you've never been to the Mecca, I have to lay this out. There's a large ramp that you come in for some shows. So all of a sudden they're going down the ramp. I'm outside talking to Dominic De Niro. And I see a garbage can come flying across that front entrance. And I'm like, something's about to happen. And then all of a sudden I started seeing all you guys just come right into Bergen Avenue. I'm like, are they about to shut down the street right now? But with that match, I mean, like I said, that match to me is one of the most legendary matches I've seen. Looking back at it now, how did you feel about that match?
That was the match that essentially did end Takeover because of everything that happened post that match. But that was the best Takeover match. That was the best group match that we've ever had, in my opinion, just because it was a little bit of everything. If you follow our story from top to bottom, you would understand everything, the little in-betweens. And even the Goons, if you follow the Goons story, there were little moments in between for them that you would see. Like a dude named Jay George came in and started attacking the Goons. If you follow the Goons, Jay George and Goons, they have like this friction. It was so much little details. It was a car crash, but there was an ounce of like storytelling in the car crash. That's what made the match so special, and it highlighted everyone's specialties. Like you seen the brawler shooter side of Killian McMurphy, the humor and Big Dust was still there. You see Face and bleeding, going crazy, pouncing, and AK pouncing each other. The strength of Rob and the high flyingness of myself and Miles and hard hitting of PJ, and then you've seen the turn of Bougie, and that's when you seen where he began really.
But you said it before, it was storytelling. I've always said it to me. When you look at, I don't care if you're talking about WWE, AEW, Invictus, IWA, to me, what drives a good match is storytelling. Because to me, if I'm a fan and I'm sitting there and I'm watching Monday Night Raw or I'm watching an Invictus show or IWA, there has to be a reason why I'm going to spend $20 to $30 for a ticket to sit there for 3-4 hours.
Yep.
A great example that I'll give. Recently, I just went upstate to one of the companies in upstate New York. It was a 4.5 hour car ride from where I am. And I got home pretty late that night.
I can imagine.
Would I do it again? I would do it in a heartbeat.
Nice.
Because it's storytelling. And that's what with that match, that's like I was so into that match. because I was like, you don't know what you're gonna expect.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, also, you think this is gonna be it? Nope. Now they go this way. Then it's like, okay, well, we're going this way. Nope. It was like how many turns can you take? And I think also when I give you guys a lot of credit, I give it to you, to PJ, to Bougie, to everybody in that match, especially with you guys with Takeover. The emotion of everything, and then what happened post match.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's like, and again, folks, if you missed it, go back to IWTV. I don't think I can say it enough. But now, now that you've been on your own now for some time,
Yep.
does it feel different not having the group, so to speak?
Yeah, no, it feels 10,000% different, especially at first. At first, it was a weird change for me because even in the group, I was in the tag team in the group. So I always had someone coming out with me.
Yeah.
So that was the weirdest part at first, just making the entrance, walking through the curtain, and like there was no one to my side. That was the weirdest part for me in the very beginning. Also, just like I don't know, it was weird. It was weird at first, but it was for the better because like I've said it before, in that group, I wasn't 100% myself. I would say I was the greatest showman, but I wasn't showing the greatest showman. Everyone always kept asking me, what's the greatest showman? I don't understand what makes you the greatest showman. I don't get it, this, that, and third. I couldn't really be 100% authentically myself. And it wasn't because of anybody in that group. It was myself. I took a back seat and I tried to like really just kind of be what the group was. And I was these tough guys that were just being ass, taking over, et cetera, et cetera. I wasn't 10,000% myself. So once I left that group, I really felt like I started to like hit like a gear shift, especially lately, especially like within like the February, March era. Like I feel like I've really been finding more or less who I am, who the greatest showman is, and just really showing people like, okay, it's not just a name and it's not just a gimmick. It's product. It's what he puts out. It's what he does in the ring. It's the performance. It's the character. It's everything all in one. So that's the biggest change for me. The biggest change is the fact that I'm able to show 10,000% who I am. I'm not just a background character anymore. Like I'm front and center. This is me. And if I fail, I'm failing on my own.
And yeah, and I get that, and I commend you for that because I mean, you just said it before. A lot of people know you working with Face.
Yep.
They don't know you by yourself. I almost equate it to this, and you're gonna laugh how I equate this. I put Takeover in the same group of DX. Okay, you and Face were like the outlet, were like Road Dogg and what's his face, Billy Gunn.
Billy Gunn.
It was, you had moments where Road Dogg was by himself and Billy Gunn was by himself, but you always knew their careers were always intertwined. Mm-hmm. I think even though you guys aren't still together, I think your careers, all four of you guys, are still very intertwined with each other. And I think no matter what promotion it happens in, if you guys end up, if you end up having that, I know you just had that match with PJ, which I want to get to that in a second.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's always going to be that chemistry there, and that there's always going to be a story there because of how much you guys did in such a short amount of time.
Yep.
And speaking about your match with PJ, that pretty much, I think, blew up social media. At least it blew up my social media.
It was, yeah.
What are your thoughts looking at that match that you had with PJ?
The entirety of it. So I've known PJ for a very long time. I've known everyone in Takeover for a very long time. We trained together in Gleason's gym way back when. Mm-hmm. Way back when PJ was the heavyweight champion at the time as well. I was in the tag team. Everything more or less was how Takeover was. That's how it was where we were training. I used to see PJ in these heavyweight championship matches in Gleason. And the guys used to face, I knew it. I was just like, I would put on one hell of a show with that man. I knew it. And I knew if given that chance, it's going to be something special. So fast forward to this time, we're all officially broken up and everything we've done, we did. And we're leading up to me versus PJ. And now we're just throwing daggers at each other. We're just saying things at each other. We're saying things to get in each other's head. He's saying things to get in my head. I'm saying things to get in his head. And it got to the moment where finally we're behind the curtain and we're just waiting for the main event to hit. and then our music's hit, and then it was just an outer body experience because walking through the curtain, it was just insane. Because if you know PJ, if you watch a PJ match, crowd loves PJ. You can attest to that. The crowd loves PJ.
Yes.
That night, the crowd absolutely could not stand PJ, and I loved it because I've known him for a very long time. I know how hard it is to get the crowd to turn on PJ. So the fact that I walked through the crane and they were chanting for me, they were chanting Greatest Showman, they were chanting Jaco, they were chanting Main Event Jaco, et cetera, et cetera. And then they started chanting FU PJ, PJ Average. It was so beautiful. That match was like, if that was storytelling to a T, that match, from the second we walked through the curtain to every aspect of it, that match is going to live with me forever. That match is something special.
It's funny you bring up PJ Average. We just had Chris Cage on a couple weeks ago, ahead of Wynn's next show happening in May.
Mm-hmm.
And I mentioned, I think I forgot how it came up, but I just mentioned PJ.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes off.
I saw.
About, how he, is inducting him. So I looked at him in the interview and I'm like, why don't you just, so as to say then he's just PJ Average because he's avoiding you? He's not savage because, he's not going after you. And I remember Chris looked at me, he goes, I'm going to take that. That's good. But PJ, don't worry. Your invite's here to come on the show. It's there.
Oh, definitely. Trust me. I know him. He will. He definitely will. He'll talk a lot. But
you also work for IW. You also do a lot of stuff with IWA.
Yes.
How did that come to fruition?
IWA, similar to Invictus, just a little different. So me and Face did the run-in at Invictus for Bougie. Yeah. IWA, me and Face did the run-in for PJ at IWA. So the takeover for IWA started me, PJ Face. Invictus started me, Bougie Face. That's the weird thing about takeover. It was a lot of different versions of it, but like everything, me and Face were always in it. It was just a lot of different versions of it. But yeah, that's how we started. And we started with the run-in. And then, we had some tag team matches. Nothing like crazy.
Yeah.
And then IWA took a little break, took a little hiatus for like 6-7 months. When it came back, and the four of us, we knew what we wanted. We game planned and we took over IWA. We became the tag champions, the breakthrough champion, the heavyweight champion. All four of us the same night. We took it over. The next show dominated. Show after that, Bougie lost his belt. Never seen IWA again. Show after that, we tried to keep strong. And then after that, that's when the domino effect just started happening. Me and Face lost the tag. Face walked out on me, causing us to lose the tag titles. And then on Intensity, the IWA YouTube show, PJ kicked me in the nuts, causing PJ versus Jaco to start up in the first place.
So basically, you end up going up against PJ because he decided to go down low. So
yeah. Fun fact about the takeover. Fun fact about the group: every single member of that group has turned primarily on me. All of them. Bougie hit me with a briefcase. Out of takeover. Face walks out of me. Out of takeover. PJ kicked me in the nuts. Like that was just like. It seems like it was a me problem, apparently. I don't know.
So I guess it's safe to say the only one who didn't turn on you was Jerry.
Yeah, but yeah, essentially, I'm just waiting on it at this point. I'm just waiting on it. We'll see.
Well, I don't know now that he's a Titan because he got all the signatures and he did well.
Yep.
Again, I'm not trying to advocate for it. I'm just saying.
Listen, I love Jerry. Jerry knows how I feel about him, and he's killing it right now. I'm proud of him. I'll just leave that at that.
But the other one you also work with is Titan. And like I said, I've got a chance to see you at Titan a couple of times. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to be at the last show that they did. But with everything that's going on with Titan right now, how are you feeling about the Titan and everything and, all that stuff? I am so much enjoying Titan right now. It's not even funny.
Titan, between Titan and IWA, there were the two places to really give me my first shot as a singles competitor, 100%. Titan, I've worked for before in a tag team capacity. We left. We didn't go for a while, and then they did Mount Olympus back in November. That's their Rumble match, and I was just supposed to be a participant in that. I remember that, and I told Billy, the promoter, the owner of Titan, I was like, "Thank you for the opportunity." Day before Mount Olympus, he messages me. He was like, "Hey, you said you want an opportunity, right?" I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "All right, you versus Ray Cleatree 1-on-1," because Ray Cleatree's opponent at the time got injured, so he couldn't make it for the show. That was all the opportunity I needed. Me versus Ray Cleatree. We put it in. We put in the work. We killed it, and then it's just been a snowball since then. They've just been giving me opportunity after opportunity, allowing me to shine and grow as the Greatest Showman. That's a place where I feel like the Greatest Showman has truly like flourished and like really found his footing. Like that's where you've been seeing lately, like me as a singles competitor, just fighting completely on my own because yeah, PJ's there, but PJ's completely his own thing at Titan. Face and Bougie, they're not at Titan. So it's just being able to walk into the locker room. People know you as Jaco, know you as an individual, as my own identity. I love it. I love Titan from the locker room to the show to every aspect of it. I love Titan.
You keep saying, the Greatest Showman. I'm expecting one of these shows you're going to come out with a top hat and look like P.T. Barnum.
So that's the thing. That's everyone keeps telling me, "Oh, you should wear the top hat. You should wear the jacket." And that's the one thing. I don't want to be mistaken. I'm not coming out in a top hat or a jacket. That is not what the Greatest Showman is. I love the Greatest Showman. I did hear it first, like from the movie. Yes, it's a great movie. I love the movie. It's my favorite movie. But it was just hearing the name, the Greatest Showman. I was like, why is no one calling themselves that? Like, it just sounds so damn good. I was like, all right, I'm just going to take it. I'm just going to add damn in it so I can't get copywritten. Ev it. Hell yeah, I'm the Greatest Damn Showman. I love this. And then once I started saying it enough, I was like, this works. But I don't want it to be the idea of I need to come on a top hat and a marching band jacket to get it over. That's not what this is. It's not a carny act. It's the product. It's what I put into the ring. It's me being able to show I'm a spectacle. I can cultivate when I stand in the ring, when I'm skipping around the ring, when I'm doing whatever I'm doing. It's showing I'm going to put on the greatest damn show every single time. That's what you're going to get out of me. I may not be in the main event. I may kick off the show. I may be in the middle of the show. Hell, sometimes I may be at the main event or before the damn show. But regardless, I'm always going to put on the greatest damn show, whether it's at the end of the show, the beginning, the middle, before. I'm going to put on a classic, a spectacle every single time. That's what the Greatest Damn Showman is.
I think it's safe to say this, and like I said, I've seen you wrestle quite a few times now when you were tag team with Takeover and by yourself. And I think the one thing I think I can stress as a fan to tell people if they haven't gotten a chance to see you yet, he's not, folks, Jaco is not just saying this because it's him. Mm-hmm. I've seen this guy wrestle. He puts on fantastic matches. It doesn't matter who he's in the ring against. You know damn well, yes, he may come into the ring skipping around, but you know damn well once he gets through those ropes, it's a different Jaco. Mm-hmm. I could, if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong here.
No, go ahead.
And it's all of a sudden it's like that switch goes off, where it's like, okay, you got the crowd going, doing the skips and all that stuff. If I did that, I would probably trip half a dozen times coming out of the ramp. But then once you get into the ring, it's like all of a sudden, like I said before, that switch turns. Mm-hmm. And then you're like, okay, I'm not gonna say the fun and games, but the pageantry and all that is in the outside of the ring. Once you're in that ring, it's I'm Jaco, you're my opponent. Good luck.
Yeah, it's exactly that. I'm Jaco, you're my opponent. Good luck, and to whoever that may be. Like even the last Titan show, all that was advertised for me was Jaco was in action. That's all I needed. I didn't need an opponent in the match graphic. I just need them to know I'm in action. You're gonna get the greatest show just off of that. But yes, like in the ring, bell hits. Do I skip? Yes. Is there like my little wrist flare, my flamboyance? Of course. Am I gonna wear my pretty little bracelets? 100%. My hair is going to be tied up in a funny way, 10,000%. But don't mistake that. I will punch you in the face. I'll kick you in the face. I'll put on one hell of a show doing it. I'm still going to continue to skip around the entirety of the match. I'm still going to add my flair, my showmanship, the entirety of it. But don't let it mistake you. The Jaco in the ring is a whole nother ball game.
Oh, like I said, I've seen it plenty of times. And a couple more questions I got before we wrap up for tonight. Obviously, I know you know one of our co-hosts, Ryan Peterson, ring announcer. And I haven't asked this question to the wrestlers in a while because I know he always gets upset with me in a funny way. But do you have any funny stories that you can tell about working with Ryan?
Oh, I can't really say. I know he hates whenever Face tries to bug him because I don't know if you ever heard Face's entrance, but there's a lot of. I'm allowed to curse, am I?
Yes, yeah, go right ahead.
Face's entrance is a lot of shit. Like Face wants this said. The motherfucker, MILF Hunter, devil of this place, the pharaoh of this fate, motherfucker, MILF Hunter, devil of this place, Cooler Conqueror, the pharaoh Face. That's a lot of shit. A lot of cursing. Ryan Peterson does not want to say any of the cursing at all. So every time, but come on, just say this for me, Ryan. Nope. Nope. You're gonna get the trimmed down version. I'm gonna give you one hell of an announcement, but it's not gonna be that. So I would say that every time he sees Face always pesters him about that. But I love that.
I always get a kick out of watching when Ryan does ring announcing, especially like with you for example, because he always adds that extra to it.
Yeah, I was bothering him on Friday at Invictus. I was like, "What are you doing Monday?" He was like, "I don't know." I was okay. I just walked away. He had no idea because I didn't tell him I was on the podcast today. I just wanted to bother him about it. He was like, "What are you doing Monday?" I was like, "I don't know." And I just walked away.
It's funny. Actually, I'll tell the story after we're done here. But two more questions I got for you. Your entrance music is the Greatest Showman, the alternative version, actually, if I remember correctly. Was that your call, or did somebody approach you with that, or how did?
I've always wanted to come out to the rock version of the Greatest Showman. Always. Just when I was in the tag team, it didn't fit. I didn't want to force anybody to come out to the song because I know it wasn't their style per se. It's another thing of when I said when I was in the Takeover, I wasn't really fully myself. With the second I got the opportunity, when they said, "Hey, what's your singles music?" The second I heard that, I automatically knew what I was running with. I was like, "Oh, this, like 10,000%, this and nothing else, just this. This is what I want." I was so excited to use it. The second I heard it for the first time, standing behind the curtain, so happy.
But what's funny is, like I said, I remember at the last time show I was at when your music hit, and also in the crowd, you can tell when you're over with the crowd when the first couple of notes of your entrance music goes, and everybody's like, "Okay, we know who's coming out right now." Because a lot of times with indie wrestlers, a lot of times they have very generic music that you don't know who it's going to be. But with you, and I give you a lot of credit for this, when you hear the first part of that song, and everyone's like, "Okay, Jaco's coming out." So I commend you for that a lot.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Last question I got for you, and then I'll let you plug what you got coming up. And I always ask this question to everybody, and I always get the same thing of, that's a tough question to answer. You had the opportunity to face any wrestler, doesn't matter if it's the independents, professional, like WWE, AEW, past or present. Who would it be?
Past or present? Oh, man. Part of me wants to say Sean. Part of me wants to say Brett. Part of me wants to say Taker. It's very up there between those three names. It's just like those WrestleMania Takers were something different.
But you see why that's a tough question?
Yeah. I can't put one specific name on there. It's like at least three. At least.
I always love it when I tell people that, and they're like, Mind you, the whole conversation can go great. And then I asked that last question at the end. They're like,
No, I think I'm gonna have to say Taker. WrestleMania Taker is different. Like I said, I love making an entrance, and I want to stand in that. I wanted to stand in that ring so badly and hear those gongs and just watch someone else make a captivating entrance. So yeah, WrestleMania Taker.
I could see that really. I could really, and honestly, folks, if you have W2K23, you could actually do that. Make Jaco, have Undertaker. There you go.
I've yet to see someone make the Greatest Dam Showman in any WWE 2K game. So fair game to whoever may or may not you do it. Go ahead. You have all of my blessing in the world.
I'm putting the challenge out there.
Make the Greatest Dam Showman.
But Jaco, thank you so much for hopping on tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure. Anytime.
I was just about to say that the door is always open for you to come back on. Before we let you go, though, what do you have coming up that you like to plug, and where can the fans find you on social media?
Main two things coming up in the moment. It's May 20th and May 21st. Back-to-back shows. Tie-in, Rise of the Tie-ins, May 20th. Myself versus Rocket for the TCW Lightweight Championship. It was made official last Saturday, and that's a match I've been itching for since I got to tie-in. That's a person I've been dying to work for a very long time. Rocket's an insane individual and is someone just about as crazy to do anything to take the spotlight as I am, as Rocket. So that one is a match I promise you do not want to miss. If you want to see the Greatest Dam Showman in its tea, right then and there. But then the next night, we have in El Nacho's restaurant, IWA, May 21st. Jaco's in action. That's all I can tell you as of right now. Jaco is in action, but May 21st, El Nacho's in Elizabeth, New Jersey. Those are my main two. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, Showman_Jaco or Showman Jaco on Twitter, and just Jacob Torres on Facebook. Because I don't mind. Come find my private Facebook. I really don't mind. I add everyone. I love people. I love them all. So please.
Again, Jaco, thank you so much for hopping on. And I'm just going to say this right now. P.T. Barnum may be the greatest showman, but you're the greatest damn showman.
I love that. Appreciate you, sir.
And on that note, guys, it has been a blast. Definitely catch Jaco at Titan coming up in a couple weeks, at IWA the next night. And we will see you guys on the next Around the Ropes podcast.